Good morning. It is 11:15 a.m. on Saturday, November 20th, 2021. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just slept in. This is 5 more minutes. I didn't even stay up as late last night. But yeah, I guess I just really decided to, let my body tell me how much sleep it wanted today, and what it wanted was a lot, apparently. So here I am. Um, Hairs all over the place. I I spent a big chunk of yesterday um, watching all of the new season of the new Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop, and I hadn't really intended to just watch the whole season in one go. But I found myself entertained enough, and I started getting the sense that people were going to start talking about it, in not even necessarily in spoilery ways, but just in ways that made me want to go ahead and establish my own opinion before hearing too many other people talk more about it. So I'm glad I did in that sense, even though it mostly just meant me taking up all day with that. And so here's what I think. It's fine. That's my opinion on it. For a little bit of context, I love the original cartoon. I also, generally speaking, resist and resent every single attempt to make any animated property into a live action remake. I don't like it when Disney does it. I generally don't like it when anybody else does it. I think that there is room for rare exceptions. For example, I absolutely adore the Speed Racer movie, even though I really don't care very much about the animated one for that. Perhaps not caring very much about the animated one is actually improves it in my eyes, because I see it as something that has room for improvement, right? As opposed to something that seems very good the way it is, and then implying that somehow making it again in live action is going to improve it when, yeah. So the point just being, my default position to start is to be skeptical of any live action adaptation. And so, yeah, so I would say, first of all, probably it means that I'm going into this one with somewhat low expectations. Um, but, I watched some of the trailers and I was like, I like the cast. We'll see how I feel about it. And yeah, here's the thing. It's fine. I mean, I wouldn't say it's amazing. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. I wouldn't say it's incredible. But I will say I had fun watching it. Um, I don't want to ever tell anyone else how to feel about a piece of art. Um, but I am seeing an awful lot of people on Twitter and thereabouts just ready to dump all over this thing, and a lot of them, honestly, remind me most of the people who were just so ready to hate the 2016 all ladies Ghostbusters movie, which, again, um, kind of like with any major pop culture thing that ends up a little divisive, there are often people who hate things for bad reasons, and then you might have other people who hate it for, not, for perfectly ordinary reasons, but you kind of feel like you don't want to be on the side of the bad people. I don't want to imply anyone's not liking this one for bad reasons. It's, people are allowed to not like it if they don't like it. But I do wonder what it was that they were wanting it to be. Because I'm literally seeing people complain that it's not enough like the anime, while also complaining that it's failing because it's trying to be too like the anime, which, I mean, I guess those are not inherently contradictory. Um, I honestly didn't feel that way. I honestly felt like it is enough trying to do its own thing that it's fine. It does absolutely take elements from the anime and remix them here and there, where things don't necessarily go the way they did in the cartoon. Or they combine the fates of 2 or 3 characters over here, or they skip a bit from that one, or they change the way that this character works. Like, but what? What was it ever going to be, right? Like that seems exactly what this would have always had to be. What it like, you know, uh, I don't know. So the people who are just absolutely trashing it, I feel like I don't know what they thought that this was going to be. Um, unless, of course, I think then there may be a lot of them for whom they always thought that this is exactly what it was going to be, and they just hate that it exists. Which, I guess fair. I mean, they're allowed to feel that way. I don't want to tell them not to. Um, but what I will say is, like, I don't know. And there's a couple of elements that I hesitate to touch on due to, like, theoretically spoilery things. What I will say in general is, like, this is to add to the context where I said that I love the original Cowboy Bebop. I do. But I don't love everything about it. I don't love every single moment of the screen time. Like, I do not care about Vicious in the original Cowboy Bebop. He is a non-character, and I think he's boring. Not everybody will feel that way. This changes that up by trying to make Vicious into an actual character, which will have mixed results, because not everyone will like the character that they have made. But I admire the attempt to do anything with that, because Vicious is just this weird metaphor for Spike in the original, which, like, I'm not saying you can't tell stories that way, but I can say that I don't like it. It's the whole Vicious storyline is my least favorite part. And that really kind of, frankly, includes Julia, too. I don't mind Julia as much. Maybe because there's less of her in it in the original. I like Spike, and so them being sort of weird funhouse mirror reflections of his past, it's like, okay, I can appreciate them on that level to some extent, but do not care very much about them as characters beyond the effect that they have on Spike. And frankly, I think partly that's because the show doesn't either. They really exist only in order to create the framework for the story they want to tell with Spike, which, is allowed. In this show, they try to make them into actual characters with some three-dimensionality, and I think that that's good. Not everyone will like how that goes, but I applaud the attempt. And yeah, there's other stuff too where I think that a lot of people's criticisms of it highlight my default position of why it is almost always a bad idea to make a live-action adaptation of a beloved cartoon property. And I don't even disagree with myself about this one. I liked it fine. I watched it. If they make a season 2, I'll watch that. But that doesn't mean I don't think that the talented people involved here, maybe shouldn't have done something else. I feel the same way about the upcoming Avatar: The Last Airbender series. If it was a new story, that would be one thing, but they're retelling the Aang one, and I'm just like, why? Why? That story exists already, and it's fine. It's great. It's wonderful, and you're just gonna, talk about thankless, right? Who is asking for this? Who is asking, the people who love the original. Well, okay, I mean, I guess probably what they're looking for is they're saying there are a lot of people who might enjoy this story but don't think they want to watch cartoons. And so they're hoping for that audience, maybe. Or they just figure that they get just as much money from hate watches as anything. I don't know. Netflix Cowboy Bebop, it's fine. Let it be its own thing, and it's fine. I enjoyed it. Um, People are allowed to not like it, of course, but I also would urge them to get off their high horses about it. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.